Uh-oh. I don't want that. That's my butt. Okay, Snapchat, thank you. All right. Slide to the left. All that shaking going on. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do our 3 deep cleansing breaths. As always, this is to do some emotional regulation and also send some notifications to the prefrontal cortex that we are getting ready to have a mental workout today. I will count you down in a 3, 2, 1 descending order fashion. You will inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, and we will begin our morning mental workout. 3, 2, 1. Coming back in frame. Good morning. I am Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Eland II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. Today we are discussing remove obstacles, and it is the number 38th principle of real leadership if we're going in chronological order. As always, this is a mental workout, and so you're going to need some agua, vasa, water, liquid gold, baby. That brain is 75% water, and it needs hydration. And even though you're sitting here taking copious notes, you still will need to hydrate because you are thinking. Yes, you are. Okay, so what is the Dr. Donna quote for today? To begin with, it is success is on the other side of an obstacle. Go over it, go around it, or move it. That's what you have to do because obstacles are there to strengthen you, and that's what you will find out today. So first of all, let's determine what obstacles what brain regions are being used when you are actually removing obstacles. And number 1 is the prefrontal cortex. And this is for strategic clearing. And what you'll be using to remove obstacles is the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Now, this plans steps, evaluates options, and it prioritizes which obstacles matter most. Next, you'll be using the ventral medial prefrontal cortex, and it weighs the risk, the values, and the consequences when deciding how to remove or bypass a barrier. Next is the orbital frontal cortex, and it adjusts strategies and flexibilities when one approach doesn't work. Good morning, Sean. So when one approach doesn't work, you go and do something else. The example that I have is I started out having only programs that were 365 consecutive days, and if you missed a day, you had to start over. And then I started going live, and I realized that most people didn't have the ability to go 365 consecutive days, so I did the yes and no challenge. And I had a 90% failure rate. So then I said, I got to do something else. And that's how we have the 30-day PA challenge. I've also made the determination after having people do that for over a year that sometimes you need a pre-training before you get to the 30-day personal accountability challenge. And so that's why my Instagram subscription live is in beta, and we are testing that out to see if you do that and then you go to the PA challenge, will you have more success? So these have been obstacles in my path of research to determine what is the best way to get adults to understand how the brain functions and then have them be able to use that functionality day in and day out to access their best day in and day out. Go from a hijacked amygdala state into emotional regulation with a strong prefrontal cortex so you can access your personal accountability all day long so you too can be a bad mofo. So there have been plenty of obstacles that I have had to remove. Yes, obstacles that I have had to remove, and I responded to you as well as email, Jessica, obstacles that I have had to remove in the last 12 years to even get to the point where I am sitting in front of you with brain background and neurological information and a brain t-shirt. So yes, this is an important removing obstacle principle of real leadership. Number 2 is the anterior cingulate cortex, and that's for error detection. So you constantly are monitoring conflicts or roadblocks. Any day that we have a live and some unaccountable mofo shows up trying to hijack my amygdala is error detection. They are a roadblock, and I have to make a quick decision with all that I have going on behind the scenes. What am I getting ready to do with this unaccountable hijacked amygdala person? Am I just getting ready to just boom, block them? Am I getting ready to use them as an example? Am I getting ready to drag them like they've never been dragged before, better than RuPaul Drag Race? I don't know until it takes place. But I have to determine this person is a barrier. This person is an obstacle to our success. And so my ACC says that's a problem, and now we're going to have to remove that obstacle. So basically, it signals when something is wrong or off track so that real leaders can refocus and find alternative routes. So now I have to stop and decide, or not stop and just press my block button, remove the person away, or now I have to determine how long I'm going to let this barrier be a part of our learning experience before I remove that person from our learning experience. So that's just one example. Number 3 is the amygdala, and these are emotional roadblocks. And so what this does, the amygdala detects fear, threat, or frustration tied to obstacles. Today is number 668 of me going live. I am tired of unaccountable people seeking, good morning, Lola, a dopamine boost from me. I would prefer that they go to influencers and people who are live that are seeking to provide a manufacturing dopamine boost. But it doesn't work like that because the amygdala is looking for fight, flight, freeze, or appease. And so when you have a hijacked amygdala and you're used to fucking with people, if you go to another platform where they're ready for it or they're doing something that will give you a real dopamine boost manufactured, you want to fight. You want to come and try to prey what appears to be on the weak. And so you deem somebody talking about the brain has to actually be a punk. Then they find out that that's not true. And so now I have this. How do I know how many days? I'll answer that question in one moment, Nola. So now as a person that's doing all these things behind the scenes, Nola has sold my setup and said, never, ever, never, ever, ever. All you see is this, but it's a lot going on my desk right now. So I have to do these emotional blocks, these roadblocks. And so because my PFC, my prefrontal cortex, is so regulated, it keeps my emotions from being hijacked. And when it's balanced, it helps leaders stay aware of potential risk without being paralyzed by them. There has never been a point in 668 days where someone has got on this live and tried to hijack my amygdala, and I just got off live. And I said, fuck it, I can't do this no more. I'm tired of all these unaccountable people. Leave me alone, no! Never took my wig off, never just like, I can't take it. This pressure is too much. Oh my God, this thumb dog has got me in a trap, in an emotional chokehold. It's never occurred. Never occurred. Never occurred. Because they think what they looking at my now, they don't understand my then. They don't understand how I got here, what I had to get through, how many more obstacles and roadblocks I had to get through and to just to get to you today. So it's not going to work. So Nola, I track my days on my notebook. So that number right there, which I know is going to be backwards for you, is I counted and I put it at the top of the live every single day. And what I had to do was I had to go back to the first time, November 4th, 2023, and then ask Google how many days has it been, because I wasn't counting it originally. And then from there, I started writing it down because I was just saying the date. But it's in your daily is the tagline for everything that you do, because it is personal accountability it's in your daily. So then at that point, I decided to start saying it, and because it's a flex, it really is. I say it at random because I use it for when I need to be able to say it, but it's there every day in all of my notebooks since the day I started tracking it. Okay, so next is the hippocampus, and this is the memory map of past barriers. So it stores past experiences of overcoming challenges. I got an arsenal full of overcoming barriers. Hell, I couldn't read. And now I'm in my 11th year of a reading challenge. And so many things that I've had to overcome. And being able to sit here today, I had to leave a corporate job, and I'm in year 12 by myself. I was 15 years ago leaving my corporate job. And so all of the barriers that have taken place in 15 years haven't stopped me. I'm here today. I have had challenges going to bed at 12 o'clock, getting back up at 3 and doing this because the main thing is the main thing, and I shall not be removed from this path that I am on. And so the hippocampus retrieves strategies and lessons learned so leaders don't repeat the same mistakes. So what I haven't done is continuously said, I'm gonna just keep doing this. I'm gonna go live on TikTok, and I said, not gonna have an agenda, and I'm gonna just go live and hope that people stop harassing me online. No, that shit didn't work. I was quite nice when I first started. Unaccountable people, trolls start. I didn't even know what a troll was. Had to look it up, found out what it was, and I said, okay, cool. I used to do stand-up comedy. I'm cool. I'm ready for the hecklers. No problem. No problem at all. I can get as raunchy. I can get as ignorant. You go when you go low, I go lower. I will pop it all. I used to get low, get low, get low. So I have no issue with dragging someone who came to my live and started acting like a damn fool. I will outfool the fool and then continue on with my agenda, which is why I have one, so that I can remain on track. Next is the basal ganglia, and this is the action initiation. And so it helps translate decisions into action steps. And it supports persistence and habit change when removing obstacles requires consistent follow through. And finally, the insula that's the awareness and internal states. So it brings interoception awareness. So your stress levels, your gut feelings. Remember, the gut brain is sending 400 messages to the head brain all day long in one-way communications. And it helps leaders sense when a barrier is draining resources and when to pivot. And so anytime some person, some unaccountable person is draining me and my neural pathways and my resources, you got to get cut off. I don't care who you are. I cut my mother off, and I'm adopt my original name is Donna Louise Thomas Jr. Gone, because you are draining me. You are an obstacle to my success. And I know if on May 5th, 2022, I didn't sever ties with her and her husband, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you about the brain, because I would still be experiencing brain drain from them. And so you have to decide, and I mentioned this yesterday, does this benefit my brain? Does this benefit my brain? And if it does not, then it's brain drain, and you'll never gain when you got people draining your brain. So they got to go. They got to exit stage left. They got to get the hell away from you, or you got to get the hell away from them. Because as long as they are there, your amygdala is going to be hijacked. Your insula and ACC are going to be the hype people, like, yeah, this is it. You got to stay. Y'all been in this relationship for 10 years, and y'all got houses and properties and kids and all this stuff, and you've been knowing them since the 5th grade. You can't let that friendship. Fuck them. Okay? You are draining my neurological pathways, and we are not going to keep using my brain for all this other bullshit. You got 86 billion neurons, and I got 86 billion neurons. And either we're going to use them together, as we found out yesterday from delegating, or I'm going to use all mine on me, and you can figure that shit out. You only want 10 neural pathways? Cool. Have those 10 neural pathways over there in Loserville. Over here, we ain't going to have no obstacles. We're going to remove them, and we're going to keep growing from here to the galaxy. So in summary, removing obstacles is a whole brain leadership activity, with the prefrontal cortex as the planner, the anterior cingulate cortex as the detector, the amygdala as the regulator, the hippocampus as the guide, the basal ganglia as the activator, and the insula as the internal compass. So my question to you today is this: what obstacle do you need to remove right now? What obstacle do you need to remove? Because everybody got them. I'm working on quieting the fucking fraternal twins, Lala and Amy, who are just really acting like a damn fool, because I hit day 23 the other day. 20 was the 31st, 2nd, 3rd. I'm on 21, 22, 23. I'm on day 24. And they are mad as hell, because they have not had screen time in 24 days. So they just keep creating problems. What obstacle do you need to remove? And remember, I'm trying to be patient, but before you answer a question, it's an ellipse, it's a thinking brain, a brain, an emoji, so that I know that YouTube is still allowing me my chat to be enabled on my phone, so I might have to switch to my tablet, and that will require me to get out of Gmail, go into YouTube, minimize it, and then go back into Gmail, go back into my notes. So it's simpler for you to just do that. Thank you very much. And Lola, if you're working, I understand, or at the gym. And if you can't, just tell me I'm just listening only, and then I will understand and not expect your ellipse. I need to work on removing my distractions and focus on building my thing. That is correct. I concur. And eliminate distractions is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And focus, stay focused, is another one. So you're strengthening those two neural pathways, which are principles of real leadership, which from doing that, you're going to actually end up creating a better situation in so many other areas in your life. Sean said, my husband to help me more instead of stay. He tired all the time with no input, and this is draining me. Lola, thank you for letting me know. I'm listening. Jessica said, I need to get more structure than I thought I had. I need more dedication. Discipline. Jessica, you need more discipline. And then Kevin, working on evicting the family of fats that's not paying rent in my belly area. Okay, yes. Yes. And Kevin, have you gone to get a colonic? Because a lot of that is food sitting there in that area. So I don't know if your primary care physician told you to go to get a colonic, but that will get rid of some of that, because that's impacted meat and food just sitting in your colon. I would say he is tired all the time. So how can I? So Nola's correct. Jessica, we talked about discipline. I gave you an alternate solution. Go check your email when you get off the live. And then Kevin, just go get a colonic. And then Sean, you are going to have to sit down with your spouse, and you're going to have a meeting. And y'all going to have an honest meeting. And I don't know how long you've been. Okay. I don't know how long you've been married, but what my recommendation is for everybody that lives with another person is you have a family scorecard, and everybody that is a member of the household from third grade up, because for 0 through second grade, you're not really writing and reading and understanding, but by third grade, you are over 30 plus. Okay, cool. So sit down and say, we need to, it's time for us to reevaluate. If you work for the government, the fiscal year starts on October the 1st. I start my new year in November. So just say we're going to start. We're going to work on this in September so we can launch this on October 1st, and say if we need to reevaluate as a family what we're doing. And then say, I'm sure there are some things you would like for me to do. There are some things that I would like for you to do. There's some things that we need to do independently. So let's get this family's report card together. And then develop what it's going to be. 3 to 5 things that you're working on. And then you sit down with some frequency once a week if you want, if you have dinner, if you have date night, and you're just assessing. So if you think about school, when I was in school, every 6 weeks we got a progress report, and then we got a end of semester grades. And so twice a year, that's what went on your transcript. And so you're just going to try it. So you're just working on becoming better people. That's what you need to do. And so everybody sits down, because remember, from yesterday, when you delegate and you have these brains, what you want to do is have a neurological bond, not a physiological bond or a financial bond, but this neurological bond where you all are a team. Not this nucleus family thing, because that doesn't work. If it did, we would have way less problems in the world. But when you think about teams focus on winning. And what does that winning look like for you as a couple? And that's what you do. And then you just revisit the report card. And so if you say, here are the areas where I need help at, and then he says, well, I'm tired because this is what's happening at work, then he needs to come home and do a brain dump. So if he's tired from coming home from work, he needs to spend 15 minutes with a composition notebook, and I have mine here, which is my brain dump, and it literally says brain dump on there, where you're just writing down what's taking place neurologically. And now it's gone, because the cortisol is in front of your brain, and it's telling you you're tired and you can't get anything done. The amygdala is hijacked. So that's who you need to start having your brain conversations with. Okay, great. Now, what are the top 3 neurological reasons people avoid for removing obstacles? So I'm glad you asked that question, Jessica. And here are the top 3. Number 1, amygdala hijacking. That's no coincidence. That's not like we didn't think that was going to be an answer. So it's fear and threat sensitivity. So the amygdala is designed to detect danger and protect survival. When an obstacle feels overwhelming, uncertain, or threatening, the amygdala can overreact or overactivate. This triggers avoidance behaviors. So now you are procrastination, denial, and delegating responsibility elsewhere. We talked about that yesterday. When people don't feel like doing something, they delegate it to you, and that is because it's an obstacle for them. So if you remove the obstacle for them, they feel better, but they didn't get the neurological pathway to remove it for a future instance. And leaders may perceive the obstacle as more dangerous than it really is, leading to paralysis instead of problem solving. And Sean, you said, thank you, I will indeed try. So you know your husband better than anybody else. And so you're like, whew, I'm going to have a burning conversation with this man. I know how this goes. And I understand that because I had to have the same experiences with my immediate family. But you have to do what's best for you. And intuitively, he has to do what's best for him. And then when you come together, it's what's best for the relationship. The dynamics of mental gymnastics. Okay. And so, yes. So if your amygdala is hijacked, it's never going to work. That's why you're here daily, so that you can strengthen your prefrontal cortex. Because once again, I haven't done this in a while, so that you can understand the amygdala be causing all kind of problems, and it's this big. I mean, look, y'all, this thing has taken over the adult population globally, and everybody's amazing 2 to 3 pound brain. It weighs grams. This is the teeny tiny little bitty thing causing all this problem. It is an instigator, and it drops off some threats and doesn't verify it at all. And next thing you know, the hippocampus, the insula, the ACC, and the prefrontal cortex then lost their damn mind from this thing that's the size of an almond. It's almond shaped and it's tiny as hell. It is tiny, causing all this fear that ain't even real. You ain't even checked. It's like, everybody's just running and don't even know where we're running from. Why was you running? Shit, you start running. I don't know. Well, damn, it wasn't even nobody to be running from. And it has created this mayhem and all of this confusion and diversity and divisiveness in the world because people won't fix themselves first. I say fix you first. It fixes a lot. Fix you first. Start right here. Bend the wrist right here. Fix all your defects of characters for any of us in 12 steps. Come on. Do this. Fix you. And it's going to fix a whole lot. Emotional regulation is what the adult population needs to focus on daily. That is strengthen your prefrontal cortex and regulate your limbic system, specifically the amygdala, the fraternal twins, Amy and Lala, because you have a left and right amygdala. And that's what I'm currently working on. And that's why I went no screen time, because I found out the motherfucking source of all of my amygdala hijacking coming from screens, televisions, phones, tablets. And so I have been on day 24 of Tibetan music. With flutes and all, they are mad, oboes and everything. I have no frame of reference. The hippocampus can't go back and recall, hey, I remember I was at the club. I remember that song came out. It's like we have never had this experience. And they are pissed, let me tell you. But I am going to get these two under control. And my amygdala ain't going to get hijacked no more. As soon as the system gets in place, I'm passing it along to you. Because I am sick of hijacked amygdala days, people being on the receiving end of it because people have not figured out how to remove their own obstacles. So the next top reason, number 2, for people not removing obstacles is because of prefrontal cortex overload. Cognitive fatigue, that you just said it, Sean. Your husband said he's too tired. Mentally too tired. And so the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex manages planning, problem solving, and executive decisions. And when it's overloaded by multitasking, this is chat saying this, y'all know I would say task jumping, stress, or too many competing priorities, it becomes mentally fatigued. And this reduces mental energy and increases the likelihood of choosing the path of least resistance and ignoring the obstacle rather than addressing it. So you are ignoring the obstacle. We have a garage organization tomorrow because someone for 2 years has ignored the obstacle and they barely can walk through the garage to get into the house. It's one little tiny path to get them. And they have their in-laws stuff in the garage and stuff from years and all. It's just shit everywhere because these are obstacles. And just put it in the garage, put it in the garage, just put it in the garage. Just put it in the garage. And the garage is like, look, ain't no more motherfucking room in here. Don't put shit else in here. You ain't gonna be able to open the door. So it's all of these obstacles, things that were once important that you don't want to let go of, but you don't even know where they are because it's been 2 years. It's been 730 days. You don't know where nothing is, can't find nothing, can't remember, and can't see. And so clutter on the outside is an indication of clutter up here. You clear up the clutter up here, and you're going to be able to clear up the clutter out here, and your life will be clutter free. So that's a heunormic obstacle. Eliminate clutter is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So you have cognitive fatigue. Man, I'm going to sleep. I ain't got time for that. It's just going to be there. And then finally, the basal ganglia, comfort and routine. Comfort and routine. I have said 3 times that you need to be comfortable when you are sleeping and resting so your whole body can get what it needs to regenerate. It's like power, plugging your phone in. That's what sleep is for the brain and the body. If you are recovering from surgery or some type of medical debilitating situation, or you are on your way out, checking out, and we know you got your affairs in orders because you're leaving. That's it. The rest of the time, you don't need to be comfortable, because guess who loves comfort? Think of it this way. Every time you see comfort, your amygdala is getting stronger, because you're trying to figure out how this little motherfucker is so strong, because you are so comfortable. You're sitting in a comfort cocoon, built a comfort zone in a comfortable, cubicalized, zip code-itis existence, and now you're trying to figure out why the hell your amygdala is so strong. Because every time some shit shows up, you choose comfort. Look the other way. And you're like, dang, I just want to be out of this situation. Do you? Do you want to come out that comfort zip code? Do you want to come out that comfort cocoon and that comfort zone that you made for yourself? Or do you just want it to go away? It ain't going away. The people, that garage, that all that shit is in that garage ain't going away till College Hunks comes and picks the stuff up that we tell them to pick the stuff up. So you got this comfort cocoon, and now you want to sit and say what ain't fair. Now you want to start talking about racism and sexism and negativity bias and confirmation bias and cognitive dissonance and all this shit. What that got to do with your junky ass garage? You bought that shit and you put it in there. You got this shit show of an existence of a dilapidated house with shit all over everywhere. And racism is the reason why your dishes ain't been washed in 4 days. That's why you ain't went back to school in 20 years to finish your degree. That's a lie. But that's comfortable. That's a excuse. That's a reason wrapped up in an excuse that sounds like, yeah, that sounds like a good answer. No, it doesn't. You are on Family Feud and you got 3 red X's. Bah, bah, bah. No, it's not. It's a excuse. So stop excusing lying. And that's lying to yourself about the reasons why your shit is the way it is. So it is up to you to get out of this comfort zone. You caused it. Now you need to destroy it. You created this comfort cocoon, and now you're sitting here saying, I don't know what's wrong. And you and the 2 fraternal twins, Lala and Amy, sitting on your shoulders like, yeah, this is fucked up. And see how this got so bad? And then remember when it, and then Hippocampus like, yeah, I remember when it got fucked up. And the insulin ACC like, yeah, ooh, this is, I don't even, you know what? Just go ahead and take a nap. Just go ahead and go to sleep. Sleep on top of them loads of clothes that's been on your bed for 3 days. Just lay on. They'll make you warmer. They just going to act like it's a pillow topper on the bed. Just lay on them and go to sleep. Absolutely not. So the basal ganglia has the habits, and it is the comfort and routine. And so the basal ganglia drives habitual patterns and behaviors. So if a person has developed the habit of working around problems instead of removing them, the brain prefers that energy-saving routine. So your whole life is on power save mode from yourself. You're like, no, I'm gonna dim my phone because my battery is down. I gotta do all this stuff. I'm dim the lights. So neurologically, the brain resists the effortful rerouting that the obstacle removal requires, sticking instead with what is familiar and automatic. And so in summary, people avoid removing obstacles because the amygdala overreacts with fear. The PFC runs out of processing energy, and the basal ganglia locks them into unhelpful habits. So the amygdala is like, nope. And then the PFC is like, this damn amygdala, I'm tired. And then the basal ganglia says, okay, cool, no problem. You're afraid, you're tired, we're going to take a nap. You're afraid, you're tired, we're not going to have difficult conversations. You're afraid, you're tired, we're not cleaning up the house. You're afraid, you're tired, we're not going to make our resume better so we get a better job. No, we're not going to take all this money we've been saving and actually invest in a business so the money can make money. Because see, then you got to add, then you got to hire people, then you got to find a business to invest in. Why? Just keep the money. Just keep it and just give it to your kids when you die. That's all. Yeah, just don't do all of that. So now we have discussed how you get to the point where you're not removing obstacles. And so I asked you the first question, which was, what obstacle do you need to remove? And now that you know what is stopping you from removing those obstacles potentially, how does that make you feel? Now you know, I need to remove this, and here's why I've been avoiding it. Now what? How do you feel? And it is an ellipse, a brain, or a thinking emoji, so that I know that you are still here. Do you understand the question? De pregunta del día. Thank you, Nola, because I was about to go to YouTube. Dr. Donna, when you start asking us, I like that one. Access the Rome. So now you know the why. I feel relieved that there is a way. There is always a way when you a real leader, baby. Hey, always a way. Always a way. Because all you need is neural pathways. You just need those neurons to feel fired and wired. Instead of fire and desire, you got fired and wired. Go ahead and release them neurotransmitters and set that synaptic connection in place and strengthen that neural pathway. And as based upon the research from Kevin and I, 8 days, baby, is all it takes to get that synaptic connection going in the right direcciones, and you will cement it by 21 days. It will be in place if you are consistent with doing it. Nola said, I feel enlightened. I feel inspired to continue. All right. Empower others is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. That is muy bueno. Yes, it is. Mr. Hook, just waiting on your response because Lola is working or exercising. And access to Rome. How do you feel? Yeah. How do you feel? I feel like going on. I feel lifted. All right. There you have it. New neural pathways. That fire and that wire. I got that fire, baby, over here. What you got, Dr. Donna? That fire? Yes, I got that neuron fire for you, baby. That's that good. Okay. Number 3. How could I stay determined without getting obsessed with my goals? I don't know that people can get obsessed with their goals. You set a goal and then you achieve the goal and then you move on to a new goal. So I don't know that you could get obsessed. I had a goal to get a doctorate, and so I got my doctorate, and then I moved on to my next goal, which was to write my book. So maybe I'm missing what you're saying, but if you have the goal, you work on the goal, you accomplish the goal, and then you set a new goal. And I think it was the Kardashians that had that sound that said, I'm obsessed, and now everybody is obsessed because they said that. I just heard the sound on TikTok. I don't participate in their stuff. Okay, and then you type yours. I'm going to go ahead for the spirit of time because I got to go and have my other VA appointment this morning. Okay, so what are the neuroscience brain-based activities to strengthen removing obstacles? Nola, I'm glad you asked. And here is the top 3. Number 1, cognitive reframing training. So it strengthens the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala regulation. And what is that? You practice intentional reinterpreting obstacles as opportunities. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, what is this teaching me? Because when you see an obstacle, the last thing you're thinking is that that's a lesson for you to learn from. You're like, oh, this is bullshit. Oh, man, this fucking up my day. I didn't want this. Why is this here? You start thinking, why me? Oh, my goodness, this is so unfair. You know what I'm saying? Here comes this thing. This obstacle in the way. It's not fair. And I just wanted to go about my day. No. The obstacle is there to teach you something. And so the neural benefit is that it activates the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. So planning and perspective taking. And while calming the amygdala, always got to calm the amygdalas down. And it builds resilience against fear-based avoidance. Now, Do y'all think that I want to wake up all day long and not listen to that piece of music, don't watch nothing on a screen, on social media or nothing else, and I'm listening to Tibetan music? Do you think that's something that I want to do? I'm looking like, yeah, see, I know what I'm gonna do, the stress reduction with the flute today. That's the one, because see, I was thinking about that while I was asleep. I was like, yeah, that one hit different. So let me go ahead and listen to that one. No, they all sound the same to me. Titles different little three-dimensional person with some birds chirping and shit. All of it sounds exactly the same. I can't tell the difference. And I played in an orchestra and a band. It all sounds the same to me. But what I do know is that I've been experiencing shit show palooza for the last 21 days, and I have not been popping off like, oh, like, no. I'm not going to let something the size of an almond mess up the rest of my life at any point. I want to be cool as the other side of the fan. I want to be as zenned out as the people who invented the yin and yang. I'm talking about balance like a Tibetan monk, just sitting there taking a vow of silence. That is my objective. So I am planning every day, no screen time. I took the Netflix and Amazon Prime off my tablet, and I never had it on my phone. So I can't just accidentally end up watching something. You can't watch something that ain't there. So I don't want to do it. But I know for the greater good and for two levels up, because y'all gonna get to this point sooner than I did because of me telling you how to get here. I already got to be at enlightenment, if that's what we want to call it. So this is what's necessary. So by the time you turn around, everything that I tell you to do, I had to already learn how to do it in order to be able to tell you to do it, because I had to make sure that it worked. So I don't want to do it. My amygdalas are very angry with me right now, and I don't give a fuck. I actually don't care, because I will have an extremely super strong prefrontal cortex. So ain't nobody going to be able to throw me off my square. Not even a little bit. I ain't even going to lose my balance. That's the objective. Okay. Number 2, focus on problem solving drills. So strengthens the ACC, the core ACC and your PFC. So remember, the amygdala pops off and the ACC is the referee. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hey, that ain't no real threat. Get that bullshit out of here. But if you have a weak prefrontal cortex, the ACC will be like, oh my God, everybody's coming, run! Right? Chicken Little, the sky's falling. And that's how it gets to and through the prefrontal cortex, because the ACC didn't do its job. So what you're going to do is choose small, solvable, mini obstacles each day. So you're going to fix a small inefficiency. You're going to learn a new skill, or you're going to clear out the clutter. Don't clear out your garage that you've been throwing shit in for 30 years. Go get the junk drawer in the kitchen that everybody has and clean that motherfucker up, okay? Just get the junk drawer so only the right amount of junk is in the junk drawer. Just organize your shoes. Just organize the cabinet underneath the bathroom or in the kitchen. Don't go picking something big, because you're going to set yourself up for failure, but do it every single day. One drawer in your chest of drawers or dresser. I'm going to do one side of my closet. I'm going to just make my bed up every day. Just pick something, one thing that you can do. And the neural benefit is that it exercises the ACC for conflict and error detection, and the prefrontal cortex for decision making. And so you're training the brain to approach instead of avoid. You like, yeah, don't go in that room. People got rooms in their houses. They like, yeah, you can't go in that room. We put everything in that room. All of our, the door might not even open. So don't, that room, no. Stop doing that. Stop avoiding it. You're going to work your way up so that your whole house, if you came to our house, I'm telling you, you'd be like, and this is how your house always is. Y'all did not clean up before. We absolutely did not. Absolutely did. Carpet needs to be clean, but that is it. Everything, we leave the house as it is and come back. There, you're not gonna be tripping over shit. You're not gonna be like, I saw what outfits y'all wore this week. Y'all got all these shoes at the front door. Nope, not at all. Dishes in their place and everything. It is immaculate and has been that way for my child's entire life and for my entire life too. Because clutter out here is clutter up here. So get into removing all those doggone obstacles. And if you're trying to figure out why you can't get shit done, because you can't walk from the front door to your bedroom. That's why. You can't find stuff. Where I put my keys, and you just lifting up shit all over the place. Trying to get in the car, you got to move stuff over, get rid of 55 water bottles and everything else. That's why you can't think forward, because you can't even see clearly in your own life. Stop avoiding it. That's right. You are avoiding that amygdala because you have emotional, it's called emotional dysregulation. And that means that your emotions are running your brain. That's what 6 billion adults are doing day in and day out. I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like embracing diversity. I don't feel like finding out about nobody else. If you don't look like me, you don't talk like me, then something wrong with you. And so that's where we are because everyone is emotionally dysregulated. Even the people, the therapists, the psychologists, psychiatrists, and everybody else telling us that they ain't, they are too, because of what they are publishing. If they had emotional regulation, then the information and research that they would be doing would be focused on better and more positive. But it's just as negative as everything else. Yes. So habit disruption. So again, you're going to start with something small, many obstacles. Pick a drawer, organize it. Tomorrow, pick another drawer and pick another drawer, pick a cabinet, pick a shelf in the pantry, in the kitchen. All your cups are going to be on the glasses, going to be on the same shelf in the same closet, wherever. The trash bags. And if you know you got 700 grocery bags sitting under the damn sink for a spend the night bag, anything else, you need 10. That 12 at the most. Recycle the rest of them damn things. You can take them to Target or wherever, Home Depot, all of them. Get that shit out your house. And then number 3 is habit disruption routines. So it strengthens the basal ganglia's flexibility and insula awareness. And what it is it's intentionally breaking a routine. Take a new route to work. And we saw that when we watched the videos of me speaking. I said, take a new route. Use your non-dominant hand and change your morning order of tasks. Mix it up to get out of the routine. And what this does is this a neural benefit, and it forces the basal ganglia to adapt, rewire automatic patterns, and engage the insula for greater awareness, making it easier to shift away from avoidance habits when facing real leadership obstacles. And so I purposely switch up the format. Before we were talking about the regions of the brain, then we were saying what regions are stopping you, and then it was the activities and the benefits, and I switched it to the top 3. I don't even know if y'all noticed that. I started adding real leadership into it. If you go back 2 months, it was all neuroscience. And then I said, okay, well, let's marry neuroscience with real leadership and get that going. And so even though it seems like, oh, there's this agenda, but it's not the same agenda. Switch up the graphics every single day and switch up the brain bit every single day. And so now I'm training your brain to expect something different. And I don't know if this has happened to you yet, but potentially the things that you were originally consuming before you started working on your brain somehow don't seem the same no more. You're trying to figure out, well, what's wrong with it? And it's because it's in a routine. So that's a routine that's actually stuck in a rut. So now it's like, hey, fuck it. I don't want to watch that. I'm going to find something else. So you find yourself channel surfing. You find yourself like, damn, I don't want to listen to that music. We having the same food again? No, I'm good. I don't want to talk to you. Last time I talked to you, you was talking about that same thing. I'm good. No, I'm going to send you a text instead. Because what's happening is you have more synaptic connections. You have more neural pathways, and you realize that they are stuck in a rut and they can't get their butt up. And they keep inviting you to their comfort zone, and you keep trying to figure out excuses as to why you're not going to the next thing. And you don't understand what's happening. You're like, damn, I just don't feel like doing that. No, I'm good. I'm going to just chill at the house. I'm going to go exercise. No, I'm going to take a nap. I'm good. I'm over here doing good. And they're like, what's wrong with you? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Because now you're not angry. No, like, last time I came over here, y'all motherfuckers drink all my shit. No, none of that. You just don't feel like being bothered anymore because you are creating more neural pathways, and neurologically, you are growing apart. And if it hasn't happened, stick around. By the holiday season, you are going to be different neurologically. So in summary, what you do is you reframe fear and you strengthen the relationship between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. The amygdala is not in charge. The prefrontal cortex is. The amygdala is just there to tell you how you feel and alert you to let you know if it's something that's kind of fearful. But it goes through the ACC, who is the referee, that says, all right, bet, I'll send that message to the prefrontal cortex. But as long as you are seeking comfort, as long as you are avoiding what's taking place, as long as you are lying to yourself and excuse lying, you are strengthening your amygdala. Every time you don't take the hard right over the easy wrong, your amygdala gets strong. So if you're trying to change anything, deny and starve the amygdala. That's the only way it's going to work. Solve small problems every day. So if you have offspring and they bring a problem to you, solve it right then and there. Don't wait. If you have employees, solve it immediately. Do not, we can look at that tomorrow. We can look at that next week. We can look at that next month. Okay, it's the first month. It's busy. We're going to look at that mid-month. No, you're not. At all. And then you have to disrupt your habits. Brush your teeth with your left hand. Now, you're probably going to get toothpaste all over your face and everything, but that's going to switch it up. That's why I switch my hair up. That's why I switch my brain t-shirts up. That's why I switch everything up. I'm always doing something different on social media. I'm like, okay, no, that's why I got 136, 133 something playlists. I'm switching it up. So I can't get comfortable. Soon as I feel like I'm trying to get, I'm like, let me switch this up. So now I'm going to ask you this question. What have you switched up recently? And recently means today is Tuesday. So between last Tuesday and this Tuesday, what have you switched up? Because the basal ganglia will be gangling and doing what you told it to do. So what within the last week have you switched up? And remember, ellipse, thinking brain, thinking emoji, a brain, something. So I know that the chat is still working for you and me. Kevin, wake up and exercise time. Nola, my Assemble Sports business model twice. Yes. I have switched up the format to make it top 3 for this week. Access to Rome. Access to Rome, what is your one of your names that you actually go by? The things that I watch on YouTube. Jessica, I switched my physical therapy to get stronger for surgery instead of living in pain. Well, kudos to you. Kudos to you. I switched up my Tibetan music to the negative, stop negative thinking one instead of the healing one. I was listening to the healing one. I can't tell the difference, but they said it was different, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna definitely go with that. And then Sean. And so we're gonna come around third with the benefits, do the brain bit, and then get on up out of here with our 3 questions for the day. Sean, I have switched not responding to his questions to get his attention. Yes. And what happens is when you've been with somebody that long, it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is, you are stuck and you don't even know it. Here's what, and I've said this before, and one day I'm going to show y'all the picture. I was about 8, maybe 10 months pregnant with Nola, and I didn't really have a lot of maternity clothes because I was 151, 10 months pregnant. So, I mean, that was from the back. If you didn't see me with that waddle, you didn't even know I was pregnant. So I was still, my mother sent me some of her suits because she was a 10. So I wore her suits to church. And there's a picture of me in a white suit. And Nola says I look like a South African ambassador. It's nothing wrong with that, but it's so not me. She hates looking at the pictures of me when I was married. Can't stand them. I can't show her, even with her in the photo, she still don't like looking at it. She's like, that's not you, that's not you. And so what happens is you turn into another person. And sometimes it's a good thing. In my case, it was a bad thing. I was not better married. I was not. I was the worst. I was at my lowest, worst self. And I looked like a great church matronly mom and wife, and and that shit was not me. My skirts was too long, and my heels was too short. It's like, you need to see my knees, and I need 4.1 inch heels. I can't do this at all. This is not working out for me. I looked my worst married. See, and that's why you have to have an amazing, honest child in your life, because they will tell you the truth. And even on live in front of everybody else, they will let you know, yes, I looked my worst married. I did. It was draining the fucking life out of me. That's why I said that's a job. People say, what's the job that you will never have again in life? I say, wife. I won't ever take that job again. You're like, not me. I appreciate all the women who can do it. And that's beautiful for you. I think it's a great, wonderful thing for you. Not for me. I was the most miserable, the most not myself. And people say you married the wrong man. I'm like, y'all told me to go meet him in church. He told me to, and he washed my car and got me with Aunt Brunette's red velvet cake. He had several jobs when we got married. I was like, I just don't like the role. But anyway, the point is that if I had stayed in that, and we actually war gamed that out, if I was still married and still working at Frito-Lay 24 years later, what would I be? And because I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I was already looking 40, 42 at that point, 10 years older, got aged out quick. So yeah, yes, she does. Consistently, even sometimes unsolicited. Yes, it is out of the mouths of babes comes honesty. So my point is that if after 30 years of being with someone in any relationship, you have probably made some compromises and turned into a lesser version of yourself if that person is unaccountable. And so those neural pathways that you had wired before that have been pruned. They're not all the way gone, but you got to rewire it. So I used to wear perfume and everything else. I was wearing Walmart underwear and I was using body spray while I was married. And he had on alligator shoes and chains with Jesus on it and rubies and crust and $1,500 Movado watches and all kind of shit, alligator shoes. And I looked like the help standing next to him, pulling up in the S-Class Benz. I still have my old Durango. So yeah, no. Like, yeah, get out of this. So, okay, wait, how many hours a day do you listen to Tibetan music? It's putting me to sleep. All day, Kevin. That's all I got in the background. And I used to go to sleep with my tablet on and go to sleep. So no, I don't have nothing on at night when I'm asleep. And that's all I have playing in the background. So when Amy and Lala say, I want to see something on the screen. Okay, bet. I put the Tibetan monk music on. So that's all I got. That's what I've been doing for the last 24 days. Yes. So now you like, it's putting me to sleep. Yep. And that's what I'm doing. I am putting Lala and Amy to sleep. That is the objective. Yep. So anyway, what I'm saying, Sean, is you're going to have to rewire some things in this process with you and your spouse. That's what's going to happen because both of y'all have lost your luster. Okay, so the 3 benefits to removing obstacles. You reduce the amygdala overactivization and emotional regulation. So that's what you're going to get. Instead of dysregulation, you're going to get regulation. Yes. And so I had to, and people said, maybe you was married to the wrong man. I said, no, that's just a job. I worked at McDonald's. I don't want to work at McDonald's anymore. So I don't have a problem with people working in fast food industries. It's just not something that I want to do. So given the choice, I'm good on that. Some people it works for. I'm just not that person. So you're going to reduce the amygdala overactivation. Remove obstacles lowers your chronic stress signals and decreases amygdala hijacks. And because what happens once the amygdala gets hijacked, cortisol is coming. It's going to enter into the hippocampus and make it weak. Hippocampus is only going to remember when you couldn't remove obstacles. Then it's going to work its way all the way up to the prefrontal cortex. You're going to have brain fog, and then you're going to start making dumbass decisions. That's why you have to regulate the emotions. And this improves emotional regulation, resilience, and calm decision-making under pressure, because that's what you want to do. Obstacle shows up, and you want to be cool as the other side of the fan, other side of the pillow. So I know that the world is going to come for me when I start saying the problem is that you are unaccountable and that you need to learn how to use your brain. I already know that's getting ready to happen. So I am strengthening my emotional regulation for when all of these psychiatrists, psychologists, and neuroscientists start coming and digging up shit and saying all kinds of shit. What the fuck she talking about? She can't even spell. And all of this, I'm going to be looking like Pimp of the Year, sitting wherever, cool as the other side of the pillow. So I'm preparing for the clapback and the digging up and everything else. You know what you're talking about? You're not publishing any of our journals and blah, 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 blah. Okay? Enhanced prefrontal cortex efficiency. If y'all was doing such a good job, I wouldn't be having to close the gap. Everybody would know. And all I have to say is, okay, go grab me 1,000 adults that are not in your industry and have them explain to me how their brain works, since y'all doing such a good job. Go ahead. I'll wait. Mic drop. Done. Bada boom, bada bing. So I'm already practicing. All right, number 2, enhanced prefrontal. Let me go ahead and make that a highlight, so it's out there on the internet ahead of time. Dr. Donna prediction on these industry experts. Number 2, enhance the prefrontal cortex efficiency. So you're going to have clearer thinking by removing these obstacles. When obstacles are cleared out of the way, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning and problem solving, and the ACC for error detection, don't waste energy fighting distractions. So you're not going to be fighting. If you can't get through your door, your house, and you pushing shit out the way and everything else, and your phone keeps ringing and people keep calling, you got to bail this person out and everything else, all that goes away. All that goes away. And so real leaders have gained improved focus, strategic clarity, and a strengthened executive function. And so here's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I'm going to say to you. Everybody you know got 86 billion neurons. Everybody you know got 86 billion neurons. So guess what? Guess what they can do? They can create up to 860 trillion synaptic connections too. They got it in their brain. Nola and I was just having this conversation last night. So they got you thinking you got 160 billion synaptic connections and they only have 12 million. So they come into you because they like, but you got more neurons than me. You got more than me. I don't have 86 billion neurons. Oh, but yes, the fuck you do. You might not have them wiring and firing because of emotional deregulation, but you actually have them. And that should make everybody feel good. You ain't got to feel bad about not helping and then no other person ever, never again. I'm going to help you, tell you to come on this live, and I'm going to tell you you got 860 billion neurons. Now, they might not be working and your working memory might be atrophied, but you won't have to experience cognitive overload like an old car that's been sitting in the garage for 30 years. You want to get it going, get some dust it off. But everybody has 86 billion neurons. So don't let nobody, no other able-bodied, not even able-bodied, but a adult with a conscious mind tell you that they can't think. They can't think. You got to think for them. I'm going to borrow your neural pathways, because what the fuck were they doing while you were strengthening your prefrontal cortex? Watching football, going to concerts, and chilling and hanging and popping and dropping it and learning the new hustle. I'm from Detroit. That's the hustling and hustle capital of the world. They got the 2 steps and the down, do your thing. Do your damn thing and connect them damn synaptic connections. That's what you could do. You know where your left and your right are because you know how to do the hustle. So talk to your left hemisphere and your right hemisphere and get a neurological hustle going on. Get some synaptic changes going in your brain. So don't feel bad, no damn more. And then number 3 is it strengthens neuroplasticity. And that was a great segue. Habitual adaptability. So it's successfully removing barriers. It engages the basal ganglia and the hippocampus for reinforcing flexibility and adaptive circuits. And this builds neuroplasticity, making it easier to learn, pivot, and innovate for the future. So people don't want to remove their obstacles, which is why they don't have synaptic connections. It's here, based in neuroscience. It builds neuroplasticity. That means that you are going to be able to learn, pivot, and innovate for the future. That's why you remove obstacles, because it's a lesson. It's a growth opportunity for you. And when you get done with it, you're going to get a release of dopamine. It's going to happen from the nucleus accumbens and create that reward circuit for you. And when more obstacles show up, you're going to be like, oh, okay, now let me go ahead and challenge myself and remove this obstacle, because I know that I'm going to leave with a skill, leave with a lesson, and I'm going to get some dopamine to boot. So in summary, removing obstacles rewires the brain towards emotional balance. That's in the amygdala, cognitive clarity in the prefrontal cortex, and adaptive resilience in the basal ganglia and the hippocampus. So as I go to the brain bit for today, my question to you is now, how do you feel about your ability to remove obstacles growing forward? And remember, ellipse, brain, or the thinking emoji. How do you feel about your ability to remove obstacles growing forward? Here it is. Do I need to go in the thing? Okay, let me go in YouTube. Oh, there we go. Never mind. Thank you, Sean. I'll go back in Gmail. Sean said, I feel very confident that I will get this done with success. Nola's thinking. Okay. Noah said, I feel like I understand. Kevin said he's thinking. Jessica said, capable, and now I have a starting point. And Access to Rome said, confident. And what's your first name again, Access to Rome? Because I know people don't walk up to you and say, hey, Access to Rome, how you doing? What it do? What up, though? Good morning, guten Tag, buenos dias, hello, bonjour. Oh, it's Rome. Okay, got it. And Kevin's thinking. Okay. So the other thing that I would like to say is Kevin and Nola are participating in the research. You can too. I've already invited Jessica and Lorenzo as well. We are in beta on Instagram doing the subscription based for the research and what I am determining. And feel free to go ahead and subscribe to that. You could be one of the early adopters, as I am trying to determine what is the best way to get people's brains unatrophied to prepare them for the 30-day personal accountability challenge. And it is my hypothesis that you need some priming, and that can happen on Instagram behind the paywall, because you can't do it out in the open, because then people can see and people are like, oh, I don't want people to know what I'm saying on my account. And then also it allows me to do different things. So I'm using videos, audios, prompt questions, poll questions, and everything else to see what it takes to get people ready to then jump into, or not jump into, but to complete a 30-day PA challenge successfully the first time. Kevin said, I become better and stronger this year. Roger that. Okay, so I'm gonna slide out the way. So you just go to my Instagram and you subscribe, and then you become part of that process. And when I am getting my Nobel Prize, I will be thanking all of the early adopters. And if we're all there, we just come up on stage like if at the BET Awards and bring everybody up there acting showed off fool. Okay, so the plain brain is what I'm getting ready to talk about right there. Look at my little brain, made like a little, and then see my obstacle removal brain up there. That's what remove obstacles looks like. You just get them out the brain, and see, it's a happy brain. Both of the brains are always smiling. Okay, so the plain brain metaphor. Let's get into that. And here it is. Your brain is like a plane, capable of soaring high, navigating turbulence, and reaching distance and destinations. So think of the pilot as the prefrontal cortex. It's guiding direction, making decision, and it keeps you on course. The control tower is the amygdala and the insula. Scans for dangers, signals turbulence, and manages emotional weather. That is what the ACC and the insula is supposed to be doing. It ain't in almost 6 billion adults, but that's what it's supposed to be doing. It's just saying, hey, now look like we might have some cloudy skies over there. Oh, okay, and a little bit of thunder, a little bit of wind over there, but it's okay because we can just go this way. We can fly out 10 miles that way and come back around, and we'll miss that nice little tornado over there. Next is the engines, and that's the basal ganglia and the cerebellum. And they provide steady power and smooth automatic routines for takeoff and cruising. Next is the navigation system, and that is the hippocampus. And so the hippocampus stores maps, past routes, and memory landmarks to help you reach your goals. And then finally, the crew and passengers. Those are the neural networks. So they represent teamwork, every brain circuit working together to ensure a safe and successful journey. And here's the real leader insight. Just like a skilled pilot trains for every condition, real leaders train their brains to stay calm in turbulence, and that is amygdala hijacking. It adapts quickly, which is cognitive flexibility located in the executive function of the brain, which is in the prefrontal cortex, definitely in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, and it keeps flying towards your purpose so no one can knock you off your square, or in this instance, knock you out of the air. What questions do you have about your plain brain as a metaphor? And if you have none, we can say none. All right. The 3 questions on the table for you, because remember yesterday I said you was going to have a conversation with somebody about your brain and their brain. So the 3 questions that are on the table this morning are: what did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what conversation about the brain did you have yesterday? What did you learn about yourself? What did you learn today? And what did you have a brain conversation about yesterday? Could I summarize the brain metaphor, the plain brain metaphor, Nola, or the remove obstacles? Which part would you like for me to summarize, my amazing offspring? I do hope and pray that one day YouTube will allow me, like I can do on TikTok lives, and that is to change the photo behind me. But I just slide out the way now, because last time I flipped it and tried to flip back and I was on a green screen. So I could just, because then that way I could just throw the marriage photo up there. Okay. And Nola, which part do you want me to summarize? The remove obstacles? The facts you just did. Okay. Got it. So I did it then? Is that what you're saying? Jessica said, I'm learning that I still need to get out of my comfort cocoon and have some more shedding to clean my home, starting one drawer at a time because I'm still clean, but stuff still hiding all around. Yeah. I like how you said that, Jessica. It's hiding all around. Today, Kevin said, learn to stay calm during turbulence. Yes. Emotional regulation. That's that breathing. And that maybe you should listen to some of the Tibetan music, Kevin. You're going to be asleep. You're going to be after that. Knocked out at the doggone, what's the name? Going to be sitting on the excavator and sleep. Okay. And no for the brain for today. Okay. So in summary, when you remove obstacles, you are strengthening your prefrontal cortex and you are regulating your amygdala. You are also learning lessons from the obstacle that is being presented to you, so that that will strengthen you for the future obstacle, but it will also give you the flexibility and the adaptability to be able to function day in and day out. So a small obstacle is not going to throw you off your square. You're just going to be like, oh, here go what I need to do for that. And a bigger obstacle that shows up, you're just, so for you at appointments when you have manufacturing defects or they didn't put the screw holes in, that's an obstacle for you. But what you will do is you will find a new way to drill pre-drill holes, find a new way to measure it so it happens. So you've already been doing it. Now you can just consciously do it instead of the amygdala saying, damn, manufacturing defect. You just go, oh, okay, this is my obstacle removed for today. There's a lesson behind this, and I'm going to leave with skill development. Or I'm going to fix it, remove it, and then I'm going to close my reward loop with some dopamine from the nucleus accumbens. So it will give you this nice reward loop that you'll create. So next time when you see an obstacle, you won't avoid it. You'll go right for it because you know, I'm going to get a new skill. The hippocampus will remind you you've removed obstacles before, and you're just doing it again. It just happens to be the obstacle for the day. So let me know if I've clarified that for you. Okay, Rome said, I concluded that people who really need to adjust or change internally or externally don't want to and lash out for identifying it quickly. I'm so done with people. Well, don't be so done with people, because people have the ability to, the brain is plastic. And so as a result, everybody has 86 billion neurons or more, depending on what research you see. They have the ability to wire their brain. What's stopping them is a hijacked, overactivated amygdala, and they can't make sound, wise, rational decisions because they have been feeding their amygdala for a very, 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 very long time. And the thought of leaving that comfort cocoon, they can't have it neurologically. Hence, that's why I need support on Instagram with determining how do I, because basically Instagram subscription is, how do I tell people, I know you got to hijack the amygdala, but just start here. And then what does that look like? What do they need to consume daily to start creating emotional regulation without saying, we about to regulate your emotions, damn it. Don't do that, because that's not going to work, because the amygdala is going to know. So how do we go in like SEAL team and create new neural pathways? And so it just strengthens the prefrontal cortex and regulates the amygdala. Just, that TikTok video, just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. That's what we need to do. Okay. Jessica said, I talked with my client yesterday in depth about the hijacked amygdala. Awesome sauce. Sean said, I learned to stop avoiding situations that need to be addressed. I have learned about myself much that I can do with confidence. Okay, got it. Noah said, got it. Okay, that's what I was checking for. All right, Noah said, I learned a reason that people avoid obstacles is because avoiding having a hijacked amygdala. Yes, and then Noah said, I learned about myself. My removing obstacles has built up my strength level, and I can remove obstacles at a higher level. And then Noah said, I talked about working memory and what happens when it stops working. Kevin said, myself, every day your lives remind me of how far I've come and understanding who I am and why I am. Okay, and then what were y'all brain conversations? Now, Nola had a whole brain conversation with me yesterday. And then I said, yeah, so you already had your brain conversation for today. And she said, when? I said, I literally thought, you remember when you was talking about the working memory and everything? And she was like, oh man, I didn't even realize. I was like, I thought you was doing it over. I thought you was consciously talking to me about the brain because we had just got off the live, just going to the appointment. So I literally thought she was like, yeah, I'm going to just do this now and have this done. And she did it automatically and had no idea that she had just did it. And then Sean said, yes, I did the challenge on clutter. We looked at the intake of how it took to do it, condos, but we had came to the brain chart on the cortex, and it was the only one in the room, husband and son, during our cookout. Yes. And while I can appreciate, because my daughter and I, Sean, we do organizations, while I can appreciate Marie Kondo's idea, what we tell people is you might not have a Marie Kondo life. And so your house needs to be organized. And yes, and your house needs to be organized and in a way that works best for you. And so while that all may look good, that may not be functional for the life that you actually have. So we have people when they say I got organized, I went and got the clear containers, I got the labels and all that. And then I look at their house and I say, yeah, none of that's going to work. You can go ahead and send that back to Amazon, wherever you ordered that from. How do you live in your house? When you're cooking, where do you want your silverware? Do you grab it? This putting this cereal and these cute little things, does it stale? Would it work better for you to, if you got a whole bunch of chip bags with a bunch of clips and shit on it, putting it in the thing is not going to happen. Everybody needs to consume one bag of chips, go to the next bag of chips, go to the next bag of chips. So it's more about organizing your house to the functionality of how you live in your house. So those Marie Kondo houses look good on television, not functional for everybody, not at all. So my recommendation is do a combination. If you need the containers, use them. But if you know this is where your pots are, storage wise, sometimes it doesn't work out for you. One thing about living in Las Vegas, not enough cabinet space, not enough closet space. And I don't care how big the house is. We are in mansions. They still don't have enough space for that. So while it appears that they are space savers, sometimes they are not. And in time, if you have a family, say you got 3 kids, you got clear containers with all this cereal in it, and now you're trying to remember what's not. Yes. Yeah, but not all of it. So balance it out. And Kevin said, I had the saber-tooth tiger conversation with my college classmate. And that's a very good conversation to have, Kevin. I'm glad you brought that up. If at any point you're finding yourself not being able to have a conversation with somebody, just start talking about the amygdala, because all of the adults have hijacked amygdalas. They have emotional dysregulation. It feels like they're high functioning until Palooza shows up. And then you're going to find out how not high functioning their brain actually is. Let an obstacle show up. You be like, damn, all that Jesus left out of them. Woo! Anything else, right? The woosah, that yoga, all that Zen and all that breathing and meditation, that ain't working right now. So that's what's going to take place. So the dysregulation of the amygdala is why the person just keeps making the same mistake again and again and again, because of the comfort loop. The left amygdala is going to say, hey, don't do that. No, what you doing? We good. We good over here. Keep doing that. Keep doing that exactly the way. You ain't got to learn that. You ain't got to do that. And the hippocampus will not give you new neurons for badass habits that's already in the basal ganglia. It's not going to happen. So again, today, have another, and then my final question is, how did it feel having the brain conversation with those people? How did you feel? Not how did they feel? Because they probably may or may not have been receptive to it. That's inconsequential at this point. How did you feel having the brain conversation? And then we can go, because I got to take a shower and get ready for my psychological eval. Look like I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Good morning, Vietnam. No, I'm not. What'd you say? No, we're not going to do that. All right. The first thing you try is present mock situations that target a person's reaction to things that would normally respond with rage and anger, and replacing the response with calming opposites. Felt like I was living in my purse. You was living in your purse? Is that? I don't understand that, Kevin. You said relified? Sean. I'm confused about both of y'all responses. In Rome, what do you, okay. In Rome, I'm not under, you're saying, you said the first thing you try is present mock situations that target a person's reaction to things that would normally respond with rage and anger, replacing response with calming method, the opposite. Are you saying that's the brain conversation that you would have, or I'm not, is that what your plan of action is, Rome? My bag. Purpose. Okay. Felt like I was living in my purpose. Okay, got it. I said purse. You don't have a purse. All right. It felt good being able to explain why and how we act sometimes. And my client's daughter works at a recovery house, and it was cool showing recovery can happen. You felt better. Got it. And then Nola, how'd you feel? And then Rome, is that a tactic that you're going to be using? And so again, you go for it again today. And you keep having the conversations. And what you're doing is, you type slow. Wire and fire. That's what you, fire and wire. That's Hebb's law. Fire and wire create that synaptic connection, because what you're doing is planting seeds. You are planting seeds. And so people will start, you talking to the hippocampus instead of to the amygdala, because you're strengthening the hippocampus, because that's where you get the neurons from to challenge yourself to learn and grow. So you're speaking to the hippocampus. You're not talking, you're doing the opposite. You're not giving their amygdala what they want, which is fight, flight, freeze, or peace. Fuck you. We're not feeding you. We're going to feed the hippocampus. So you're giving them knowledge. Remember, we did the memory library, which is the hippocampus. So you're giving them new information that they can store in their hippocampus for later. And in time, they will start to remember what you said in their default mode network. And then that will get them to stop having cognitive overload and start regulating the amygdalas. That's the whole objective. Because if you go head on, it's like Art of War. That's my favorite book. So you got to do the surprise attack, the element of surprise, one of my favorite stratagems. You can't go and say, we're getting ready to work on your amygdala because you have emotional dysregulation and you are crazy as a bed of Betsy bugs. And so we're amygdala going to be like, get out of there, get out of there. Nope, 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 nope. So you just say, hey, did you know that the basal ganglia is where habits are formed? Amygdala going to be like, oh, all right, they ain't talking about shit. They just talking about habits. We good. You ain't got to send no threats. Next thing you know, yeah, so the prefrontal cortex, just that's your executive function, working memory. Let's do a math problem together. Let's do some mental math. You're going to strengthen the working memory without them even knowing it. So you're going to start strengthening these brain regions around them. And next thing you know, the amygdala is going to try to pop off. And the ACC going to say, sit down, Amy. Get the fuck on out of here. We ain't doing that. And the amygdala going to be like, when the fuck did this happen? Guess it must have happened 21 days ago. Hence Tibetan monk music. Hit it. Yes. All right. Sean has one more thing. I don't think you meant to say hi, Sean. I think you had something else to say. So again, today, go have a brain conversation with somebody. Anybody. Clear. All right, you all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Higher power, God willing, in the universe. I will be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all take care. Adios.